What is up, Storm Chasers? Today, I have a young lady here joining me who you guys have been asking for months. You guys are like, when are you going to bring her? When are you going to bring her? Y'all didn't know that I've been watching Cynthia G's content for the longest, and then she shouted me out, and then they were like, oh my God, you guys watch each other. So I have social media influencer and American commentator, Cynthia G. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me here. And for people who don't know, I am a storm chaser. I do want to say I really appreciate your content and your perspective. There's very few male content creators that I watch. Not because, their content is irrelevant, it's because it doesn't resonate with me. So I like your insight in the way that you'll do the celebrity topics, but you still have a lot of insight and intellect with it. So that's what drew me to your channel. So thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, like, they got in my DMs and they're like, oh my God, how could you watch her? She hates black men. And I'm like, I ain't the black dude that she be talking about, so why would I be offended? I don't have any baby mamas out here, so I'm not a trash bag Dusty. So why would I be offended? So I just appreciate you for always staying true to yourself. And I look at you like a comedian. Do you look at yourself the same way?
A lot of people do tell me, they'll be like, oh, the content is so funny. And sometimes, because I know how heavy it is, I try to make it funny.
Okay.
Because it's heavy content. But do I think I'm just running out here, Eddie Murphy? No.
I think you could join us in the roasting center. I ain't gonna lie. I think you could hold your own over here with us, even if you switched over, because you just be roasting, and I'd be like, damn.
Yeah, no, I be thinking about funny stuff to say. Like I do be thinking of funny stuff to say, but it's because of the content being so heavy. And in my everyday life, listen, CNG is an aspect of my personality, but most of the time I'm more playful and laid back than anything else. I like to play around, actually.
I can appreciate that too. Same thing with me in real life. I'm so chill. I don't even talk that much in real life. Like, we do this for a living, and then once we off here, we like, damn, I don't want to talk. I talk all day. So yeah.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm a homebody. I be laid up at the house on the couch. No wig on, no makeup, just sitting up watching probably Married at First Sight or something.
Right, and laughing at that. We gotta talk about that later. Okay, yeah. So let's hop right into it. I'm interested in knowing what made you want to get into YouTube.
So, look, this is gonna be really surprising, but before I got on YouTube, I actually had to pre-record videos and not upload them because I was so shy that I couldn't even do, like, it was hard for me to do them. And my sister was like, well, you can just record the videos, don't upload them until you get comfortable. So I actually did that quite a bit before I even uploaded something to YouTube. But what made me want to do YouTube was actually white supremacy stuff. And that's why that's how I came in. I remember seeing the Michael Brown case. And it's so interesting and ironic that, later on YouTube, I would end up debating Jesse Lee Peterson twice. But it was his commentary on Hannity that made me want to do commentary.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like his commentary on there. And I was like, this man is insane. That added to the fact that there wasn't a lot of fight videos from Black women. And I wasn't familiar with YouTube. I mean, there was a couple people that I watched, but I didn't know the YouTube culture. So I said I wanted to bring a different image of Black women, basically showing Black women doing something other than just fighting, or there was a lot of fight videos at the time.
There was. Back in the day on YouTube, that was, I remember all that stuff, and it was just like, you could just get lost for hours watching that kind of content.
Yeah, it was sickening to me. There was one video in particular that I did, and it was in New York. There were some high school students. They jumped a girl in a bath in a McDonald's or something like that. And I was like, this is horrible. And the fact that people would stand around and cheer and, the whole Sharkeisha fight.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. So basically, I wanted to show that Black women can be intellectual. We're not fighting in videos all the time.
And I appreciate that, because what people don't realize is, in the United States, there are a lot of white people who don't live around Black people. And so if that's all they see of us, they're going to think that's all that we are. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that with Black people, we fall too easily into negative stereotypes. And I'll tell you a quick story. This predates me being on YouTube, but I spent a lot of time living in Washington. We moved from California to Washington.
Okay.
And Washington is a different culture. It's not really diverse. When I was 19, I just upped and left Washington and I moved to Detroit. Obviously, two completely different worlds.
Right, you kind of did a flip there, yeah.
Yes. And what I noticed there was the willingness to fall into stereotypes. Like, I would get into arguments with other Black women at work or whatever, wherever, where they would be like, "Oh, you think you're white, this, that, and the third." And I just realized how Black people think negative stereotypes is being Black.
Yes.
And that bothers me.
We tend to attribute negative things to being Black. And look, shout out to Camo Beauty for dropping 100 on me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks to people who contribute. They don't understand how much
we need that stuff.
And how much YouTube censors Black content creators. They won't push you into the algorithm. I'm pretty sure even when it comes to the ad revenue pay, they find a way to pay you less. So we need support.
We do. We really do. And I'm going to say this too. When I was a kid and I went through similar things that you just described, I didn't understand at the time that for a lot of those kids, that came from a place of hurt, or they genuinely had never met a Black person that spoke like you, or whatever. They just didn't. We were kids. So I think now as an adult, I can say, oh, okay, that person was coming at me from a place of hurt, not necessarily like actually trying to attack me. So I just... I like that you talked about that. So let me ask you, do you now, or have you ever considered yourself pro-Black?
I did before I got on YouTube.
Okay. First, tell us, what does pro-Black actually mean?
To me, pro-Blackness, my personal definition of it, is you're for your people. Black people's needs and interests and issues are at the forefront. And that includes both Black men and Black women. You move, you operate, you adopt your mindset to the betterment of the Black community and the continuity and perseverance of the Black community. That's, to me, is what's pro-Black. Now, this social media version of pro-Blackness, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Now, what's social media? Because to me, I feel like I see people on social media say things, but they don't really explain what it is. It's like one day this is acceptable and then one day it's not. So let me just ask you something I've always wanted to know. Can a person call themselves pro-Black but date interracially?
I think Black women can. I think Black men can't. And I know they're going to be like, oh, well, it's different. And I know that it's different. It's in my family, and there's a huge difference in between the way my brothers, I have two of them.
Okay.
There's a difference in between how they act when they date interracially versus my sisters. And I've had, my sisters on my channel, and I never hear them speak negatively about Black men. They've never said, well, I'm over here dating white men because Black men are too dark skinned, or their hair is too coarse, or whatever. My brothers, that is what they do. If you were to ask my brother why he dates white women, both of them Black women is gonna be a part of their reasoning.
That's gonna be one of the first things they say.
Black women won't do this. Black women won't do that. And, my brothers fall into that. And my sisters don't. I've had my brothers try to fight family members over white women. My sisters have never done that. My sisters can still care about themselves, their family, the community issues involving both Black men and Black women, and it seems that they're incapable. My brothers are not capable of doing that. If they are, I can't tell. So,
and I'm gonna trust your observation of it. So what you're describing is, on one hand, there could be a mutual attraction, and on the other hand, it's fetishization. Is what you're describing.
I don't even think that there is a mutual attraction when a Black man wants a white woman. I think that Black men are very race focused when they date out, and they're dating that woman first and foremost because she is white. Black women don't tend to do that. They're not dating this white man because he's white. They're dating him because he's a man who happens to be white, who will commit to her, who has financial stability, who isn't going to talk about her skin tone or her hair texture. Those are things that my sister said they never had to deal with when they were with white men. In fact, they never had to hear about weave and why do you got weave in? These men would buy the hair for them, even help them take it out, or those issues weren't there. The colorism, the disdain for skin tone.
I'm even me just thinking, like, anytime I've seen an interracial couple where it's a white man and a Black woman, typically it is a dark-skinned Black woman. Now that I'm thinking, like, I don't think I've seen one where it's like a white dude and like mixed people are not Black. We're gonna get to that later too. Yeah. But it's typically, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you damn.
Yeah, it's very, very different. Add to that, Black women's first inclination is not to date anybody but a Black man. We've been conditioned that race loyalty is something we need to uphold when it comes to relationships, and Black men have not. And when I went through the history of it, I realized how much we've been manipulated and deceived.
Very true.
In terms of the priority that Black men place on interracial relationships. Basically everything that we've learned was a lie. And this actually, when I was doing the research, because I did like a little documentary on the history of interracial dating, I'm going to re-premiere it when I get the time to edit it.
I want to see it. Yeah, because I want to see that for sure.
Yeah, I re-premiered it. I premiered it, I think, in 2018.
Okay.
And so I'm going to edit it and re-premiere it, but it took me a lot of research for me to do this. And throughout, there was a point I ended up crying. I ended up crying in the midst of the research, because I was like, oh, this is really bad. I was like, we're in a really bad position. And I don't think that Black women realize just how bad the situation is, because when you do the research, you see that the behaviors have been consistent and they have not changed.
Now,
they haven't changed.
And without you kind of like, because I know you're going to re-premiere it, can you just give us some of those behaviors just so like we have a bit of an idea?
Well, if you one of the books that I read for some of the research was The Destruction of Black Civilization with Chancellor Williams. And what ended up happening there when they talked about the whitewashing of Egypt, to where now Egypt isn't known as a Black nation, even though it's in Africa. You would think it was somewhere in Europe, because they're telling you that these people, and they're basically a mixed white group of people. And the way that they got there is because power in Africa, and it still is matrilineal. It comes through the mother. Okay. And so during that time, you had African men arranging unions between, they called them Eurasians, basically white Asians.
Okay.
Basically what they're doing now in Africa, mating them with African women, creating a biracial class, being heavily integration minded. Like, honestly, if you read that part of The Destruction of Black Civilization, you would think you're reading about, the civil rights era. You would think you were reading about a time now where generally Black men are very, very integration minded. They've very much bought into the notion of this false concept of love is love, and we just need to go create all these biracial children. And if we create these biracial children, this is a way to basically bridge the gap, which was what that dude was saying on the live stream that I did yesterday, which is nonsense, because the mentality of biracial people have always been to side with the ruling white class, whether they were.
Well, my thing is build a bridge to what? Because even if you have a baby with this white woman, you are still black. You can never be white.
Well, you can't build a bridge as a subjugated person by mating, especially as males, because I think in our community we don't realize it's different for Black women to be dating and marrying and creating children within the dominant ruling class than Black men. Is very, very different, and it's always been different. It's been different since they started doing it on the continent. But Black men don't really understand that that's not a way that you can build a bridge to anything. And I don't really think that they want to. I don't think that they wanted to back during the whitewashing of Egypt, and I don't think that they want to now. I think that there's a deep self-hatred that has been present. That was a theme that I picked up on. There hasn't been a value placed on Blackness from Black men, from what I'm seeing. There hasn't been a heavy value placed on it. And so that's one of the things that's currently going on. We know in Africa now, you have news articles popping up where there's these white Asians, they're going in there and they're to get land and power. They're mating with Black women there.
They are.
And
I know we're going to speak about this later, but I got to bring this up because to me, I'm going to just say it. The shit's embarrassing. Africa is supposed to be our land. Yet not only did we get colonized by Europeans, we're now being colonized by Asians that are coming in and saying that in exchange for some plastic fucking rice or for some train tracks or electricity that we should have been able to give to ourselves, in exchange for this, we're not going to take your land for years, or we're going to give you $1 billion or $1 trillion loan that you can never pay off. Or have people like, let me not say that. I know somebody connected to him. But anyway, I say all that to say, it seems like no matter where a Black man is in this world, he's being subjugated by somebody who is not Black.
It's not just embarrassing, but it's disappointing. Because if you look at Black men, if you look at their physical stature, when Black men are at their best, you can just tell they almost appear to be built for rulership.
Yes.
That's how they come off. Like it's bizarre to me. I feel like I live in a twilight zone because there's just something that I can see in Black men that they obviously don't see in themselves. But there's something that I see in them that is very, very strong, very powerful. But the way they move through society is very weak. And it almost invalidates anything that I see within them because of how they show up in society. And that's globally. And it's like lions pretending to be mice.
I get you. So let's cap that and we're gonna get back to that. So now that we talked about pro-Black, I have to ask you, are you anti-white?
No, I'm not actually. I'm not anti-white. I'm anti-racism, although throughout my research, I can understand why they practice it. And I think that you wouldn't even be able to attempt to dismantle it unless you understand why they're practicing it.
Exactly.
And I understand what they're doing. It's not, I don't think it's good, but again, I think Black people should be doing it. Actually, I think it would benefit Black people to follow in those footsteps and take some of those methods and apply them to their own community.
It really would. If we viewed ourselves the way white people view themselves, like we'd be unstoppable.
They have a survival instinct that's unparalleled. Like
they would do anything to keep their power.
Anything. Like Black men, what I notice globally, they will negotiate comfortable levels of oppression. White men are not willing to do that. They're either going to rule or die. Those are options for them: dominance or death. Those are their options. And I feel like you can't, when you're dealing with people on this level, you're either going to submit or fight to the death. Those are the only options, and they're choosing submission, but they want us to treat them like they're in a dominant position.
I actually said that in therapy, and I think it might have went over my therapist's head a little bit, or maybe I sounded a little crazy when I said it, but my point, and maybe I didn't articulate it correctly, but my point is, if you have a group of people that have been willing to rape and pillage the world to get on top, do you think you protesting is going to do anything? Do you think you begging, please don't kill me? Do you think that's going to work?
I actually think that the only thing that does is shows that we still believe in the system.
Yes,
that's what that does. It shows that we think that there's a fix to the system. We don't really understand what's going on. And I mean, I started writing a book on the system in 2017, and I haven't written in it in years, actually, in 2 years. But I am gonna put it out and release it, because I think that Black people really don't understand what this society is. I think they don't understand what it would take to actually dismantle this system. But I don't even really think that Black people want the system dismantled. I think they want niceties and comfort within the system. I think we have no desire to be on top. I don't think we want to be dominant at all. I think we want to be comfortable, and we want white people to be nice to us, and some of them appear to be being nice, and I think that's what makes us more comfortable. It's the perceived niceness, but it's going to take more than Black people are willing to do.
I agree. And I'm even thinking of the music industry, where we literally are the blueprint, but we don't run shit. You can even look at the athletic industry, where you see these grown-ass men get punked and crying about their owners, and it's a mess. So can you give us a definition of what the Black male worshiping culture is?
So look, it took me a while to realize what this was, and I actually woke up one morning with Black male worship. I was operating in Black male worship a lot of my life, and by the cultural design, you're going to fall, just like the cultural design says, per Jane Elliott, if you are white, you're racist. Mm-hmm. If you are a Black woman, you are a Black male worshiper. You've worshipped Black men at some point in your life. And I think when we think about worship, we think about going to church and singing praises and getting filled with the Holy Ghost. And that's not what worship means. Worship just means you have a great amount of respect and admiration and reverence from someone. Now, you can praise the way that they do in church, but our culture is designed for the worship of Black men. We put Black male issues at the forefront. Actually, the only people issues we focus on is Black male issues. Everyone is hypersensitive to what Black men go through. Even when I was talking about white supremacy on here, I never talked about how it affected Black women. I was mostly focused on how it affected Black men. Because when we think about systemic issues, we think about it happening to Black men. When we think about slavery, we think about it happening to Black men. We don't focus on anything that happened to Black women. There are many Black men who I've heard say that Black women don't have a plight. Black women don't go through anything, and we go through more than we do. I've heard them say that. So we're socialized as Black women to cater to Black men, to be Black men's ride or die, to vie for their attention, to basically train ourselves and prepare to compete as if we're winning a prize. And that's not something that Black men are conditioned to do in return to Black women. We're told that in order for us to be valid as women, we need to do whatever we can to get a man, basically get a Black man. That's your mission. Get a Black man, get him to give you that stamp of approval, which is the marriage. Go through long suffering for him. It doesn't matter if he's cheating on you or lying to you. This is just what Black men do, and you have to earn your man. So yeah, I'm heavily focused around the worship of Black men. I do really believe this, and it's undue worship.
I mean, my thing is this too, like, people are online now and everybody's throwing around the word submissive. First off, you have to give a woman something to submit to. Like, that's the part they always miss. Like, if you are that man, she's gonna naturally want to be in that role. But I just, and Nicole, I interviewed her yesterday. She disagreed. I just don't believe there's a lot of them out there that's worth submitting to.
Yeah, she's actually a good example of what I'm talking about, because I listened to part of that too, like specifically the part where you said that you feel like there's a deficit of masculinity in the community. And she said she feels like most Black men are alpha males, but I know I paid attention to what she described as an alpha male. And even based off what she described as an alpha male, most Black men wouldn't fit that. And I think that's what she did, what was typical of Black women to do, which is go to the Black men that are in close proximity to them, their family members, the ones that they've personally dealt with. But it's like, we're talking about a community, a collective group of men. And they are not alpha males. Most Black men do seem to want to rest in their femininity. They're not really embracing manhood and masculinity. And in fact, some publicly shun it. They say, I don't want this version of manhood. I didn't sign up for this. There's nothing in them that wants to be providers or protectors or warriors or really anything. And I bet you if you were to ask her, the question that I posed to my subscribers, which was, what actions do Black men engage in that even shows that they like Black women as a group? I don't think she would have been able to come up with an example.
I think she would have, because what I heard her say too was, well, based on my experiences, I've always had, and it's like, you can't just, like you just said, you can't just go off of what you've dated because you're only one person. Like, as a whole, and I even told her to her face, like, most of us, we ain't had no daddies. So how do we ain't had nobody to learn manhood from? And so when you see that generation after generation after generation, I always make the joke, like, who are y'all gonna date? Because it ain't that many real men out here.
No.
They didn't even have a chance to learn manhood. So how the fuck do you learn manhood in your 40s? When now you done had kids, you done fucked over a bunch of women. Like, what do you do?
Well, most Black women do that. Most Black women can't give an example of what Black men as a group are doing. And I think they know they can't. That's why they automatically go to their personal experiences, because they want to say, well, I didn't experience this. And it's like, yeah, but maybe the 5, 20, maybe 50 Black men that you've encountered in your life can't speak for 21 million of them in this country. Now, we know most Black people are foreign. They're not in the US. So, I mean, the thing is, it's like your interpersonal experience doesn't blanket the collective. And I find that Black men don't have that issue. They don't have an issue separating the Black women in their personal lives from the collective of Black women. But Black women struggle with that.
Yeah. I mean, she, and don't get me wrong. I mean, if that's how she feels, that's her perspective. And I allowed her to have that because I'm not a woman, but I was just trying to get her to understand that for the majority of us, we have no way to even be a man for y'all because it was never shown to us. And then you just times that by whatever fucking generation, it's like, sis, yeah, it's a lack out here. And so how do you feel about the masculine title that a lot of Black women are labeled with? I think there's too many feminine men.
Mm-hmm.
And so you ain't got no choice but to step up and do what you got to do. Niggas don't know how to change oil. They don't know how to fix stuff around the house, but they'll tell you to go cook, but don't know how to fix them around the house. Won't cut no grass. Won't even stick around after you have his baby.
No.
Like, a nigga can't even take an argument. He packing up his shit and leaving. Like, it's no, seriously. I go out in public. You see him at McDonald's. Homeboy got his hand in her back pocket, means she's paying. You know what I'm saying? Like, she pumping gas. He in the
Well, I will say this. I don't think that Black women have the expectation of masculinity and manhood from Black men because we don't know what it is. We've never experienced Black men operating as men, and from a point of manhood, we've never experienced that in this country. And so I think that Black women don't know what masculinity is. I think we don't know what manhood is. And I think that for any Black woman to say that we're not dealing with the issue of masculinity, I think that right there in and of itself is Black male worship. Black men can apparently do no wrong in the community. No matter what he does or what they do as a group, they deserve advocacy. No matter how disloyal they are, they deserve loyalty. She sat up there and she literally was a living example of how Black women operate, as if obtaining a Black man is obtaining a prize. Although what you're winning, other than his physical appearance, which that may even be temporary, what you're winning can't really be quantified. And so I think that the way that Black men act is understandable given the culture that they're raised in. We act like Black men are a prize. We act like they are.
And I will say for her, since she had her dad and she grew up with her dad, I think her vision is a little skewed, but I almost want her to just talk to your friends.
But if she can't separate her dad from the collective of Black men, then her thought process is very problematic. And that's why I said, Black women have been collecting L's for a very long time and still are, because there's no balance at all. All of the power and control is given to Black men. All of the degradation and disempowerment is given to Black women. And other Black women reinforce this as well, because many Black women are comfortable with this dynamic, number one. And number two, we've been conditioned mostly by Black men to believe that we have no desirability to other groups of men, because Black men have been the mouthpiece for primarily white men for so long. To where Black women, I think that most Black women really do believe that the only option they have is Black men. And that's why I liken the dynamic to a DV relationship. It really is a DV dynamic between Black men and Black women as a collective group.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Because I definitely would say, no, you can definitely get a man of another race if you want. Like, that's
easy.
Men like women. Men like women. So, if they're straight. So no, you're good on that. Let me see what question I want to go to next. And we could talk about that for hours. Like this
is a DV situation. It really is. Like even if you look at the cycle of it, and I guess you could replace gifts and certain things for temporary acts of validation, where you may have a Black male celebrity who will, throw out a compliment to Black women. I guess in the cycle, the DV cycle, that could be the reward reinforcement after they beat you down or break you down and tell you you're worthless and nobody likes you. Yeah. Then they'll do certain little things that draws Black women back in and make Black women feel as if there's some kind of love there when there really isn't. There's no reason for Black men to love Black women, given the dynamic that we have in this culture. There's no way Black men will love Black women.
Wow. Damn.
There's no way they would.
And you know what, as you were saying that, and you mentioned celebrities, I'm thinking of Nick Cannon. I'm thinking of Michael B. Jordan. I'm thinking even of like the baby, the situation that just went on. It's like, just because he comes back around and, oh, okay, I'm gonna give you a baby now. Like, no, sis, that's just not good enough. Okay.
And we tolerate it. And we tolerate it. That's why when I think about it, and I'm thinking about what reason would Black men have for actually loving Black women, given that love isn't something that's just given. Love is earned.
Yeah.
And love isn't earned by just giving someone undue praise and worship. That's the way that you get a lack of appreciation. That's the way you get taken advantage of. That's the way you get abused.
What is love? Because I don't know. What is
love? Is an action. It is an action. And I think that that's the one thing that's not connecting to Black women. It's an action. It's a verb. It's what you do. You can visibly see what love looks like. And it's expressed through behaviors. And there isn't any behaviors that Black men engage in that indicates love as a group. Now, on an individual level, yeah, there's some of them who may be able to express love by their behaviors. As a group, no, there's no behavior that Black men are engaging in to even show that they like Black women. In fact, they verbalize the exact opposite, and they behave like they don't like or love Black women. And so, and quite frankly, the culture isn't conducive to Black men loving Black women. It's conducive to Black men abusing Black women. And that's what we get: abuse and exploitation.
Damn. And even as I'm sitting here, thinking too, this year I learned the word futurist. I didn't really realize that was a thing. And even growing up, a lot of things that I heard my grandma say, mom say, grandma say, aunts and stuff say, I'm like, wow, like y'all are futurists, like, or texturists, or like, oh yeah, be with somebody that's Black just as long as they don't have XYZ. And I'm like, well, that kind of comes with most people that are Black. So you want me to find the one Black person that don't have, it's sad.
Yeah,
it's self-hate being passed from generation to generation.
It is. And the problem with the self-hatred and the reason it keeps being perpetuated is because it's not accepted that what Black men are doing is a manifestation of self-hatred. That's not being attached to his actions. Like when a person like Nick Cannon, you see the women that he's procreated with and how his children are children that does not look like him. There's this delusional nonsense that's also a part of the Black male worship, that Black men carry this dominant seed and can create Blackness wherever he goes. To even say that is so demeaning and degrading to Black women, but Black women don't recognize it as demeaning and degrading for you to accept the notion that you are simply a womb. And the real people who are birthing Blackness and creating Blackness is the Black man who can't even give birth to anything, not even himself. And so I think there's so many different concepts that we accept, and not just as Black women, as women as a whole, but we're going to talk about Black women because I've only heard this seed of the father thing happening among the Black community. I never hear it outside of the Black community. And I lived in Washington where it's mostly white. And so
if you got a Black parent and a white parent, I'm going to call you mixed. All of this, you are what your daddy is, and
yeah, those are religious concepts though. Like biology and even some state laws says you are the race of your mother. In Washington, with one of them, if you are a biracial person and your mother is white, you are white. And that is what you have to classify as. This is something that was even confirmed by Rachel Dolezal in her documentary, because she's Spokane. She lives in Washington. And she said when her children were born, even though they have a Black father, she was required to select their race as white because she is white and they're coming from her. And so in every religion except Judaism, because Judaism says you are what your mother is as well. Yes, you're not a Jew if your mother isn't a Jew.
That's why Drake is Jewish. Yes.
Yeah, that's you become it through your mother. But in every other Abrahamic religion that Black people tend to attach themselves to, you're the seed of your father. And men don't carry seeds. Like this baby is literally being grown and developed in her womb and nurtured. Yet we allow this to be something that Black men are doing. A child isn't born from the mother's womb with the father's hormonal system. It's with the mother's.
Yeah.
Most often you're going to get your blood type from your mother. You're going to get your immune system from your mother. So these things are not like, none of these are coming from the father. They're coming from the mother, but we still in our community, they'll say, oh, well, lovely Mimi, that Asian woman, her child is Black. So it's basically saying
her child is mixed. Her child is mixed.
Yeah. Well, but a lot of Black people will say Kim Kardashian's children are Black. And it's like, no, they're not. You're saying that a white woman can give birth to a Black child the same as a Black woman can. But when I say stop giving birth to Black males, then all of a sudden you're creating genocide. No.
And we got to talk about that too, because they But when I tell you, I have never seen so many men like with their panties in a bunch.
I haven't either.
No, listen, I'm talking about men, right? You know, I'm a lane. Now I'm talking about men. I'm seeing shit in different panels where they're like, and this bitch saying she's not gonna birth black males, which is your choice. If you choose, that's your choice. Now,
Right.
can you explain to us what is this? Well, you are you the proponent of the no longer birthing black males? Like, what does that mean? Like,
you know, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Well, actually, I am surprised, and I'll tell you a number of different reasons why I'm surprised. Number one, I'm not the first person who has said this at all, not even by a long shot. There are other women who are saying it before me, and the reaction from black men have not been so visceral. Now, black women, from what I'm hearing, when this other woman said it, she was attacked by black women, but not by black men. I'm actually surprised by black men because they said you're the seed of your father. Black men have been saying they're going to go start a new black community with white women. Black men have been saying they're going to breed black women out. They've been saying this. So they've been promoting abortion. They've been saying we're to blame because we keep birthing these children into existence. They keep saying, well, you guys control whether somebody's born. So I don't see what the problem is. Now that I'm giving back to them what they said they wanted, which was
they just don't like when you say it. They don't like
that black women have the power to eradicate them. Because they've been running around here saying they're God's chosen and there's a seed, and it's like, okay, we'll take your seed and go put it into Becky and have her birth you then. If that's how it is, look, I'm ready to call some bluffs. That's what I'm ready for. I'm ready to call bluffs because it needs to happen.
You're coming at it from a logical aspect, and I think a lot of people got in their emotions about it. I just think bottom line, that's what it is. Now, let me ask you this. Are you more for a woman saying, I'm not even going to get pregnant by this black dude in the first place? Or if you get pregnant, you get pregnant. And if it's a boy, delete it.
I'm more for them not giving birth, but that's not really realistic. We know that people are going to have sex. No matter what happens, black women are still going to have sex with black men. I'm not going to come with something that's unrealistic.
Yes.
Black women are I'm still going to have sex with black men. So, but everyone isn't really good with pregnancy prevention. They're not really good with it. And let's just be real. All birth control methods are not effective, and a lot of them are toxic and dangerous. So given that they're not going to stop having sex with them, obviously the preferred method would be to just not have their children at all. But some people may want to give birth to a girl. They may want to have a baby, and they may want a female child. So even though I'm not really super big on abortion, I know that it is an option that someone can use and that they should use. And I think that we need to start weaponizing our wombs. I think black women need to realize the power that they have. I think there is a reason why God have bestowed the power on black women to determine whether black men exist and get birthed into existence. And I think right now we're at a critical point where we need to start thinking strategically with our wombs. I think we're at the point where we don't have a choice.
And I know that I was listening to one of your lives, and you were saying that no matter what you put into your male child, you feel that you can't stop him from growing up to being a dusty.
You can't. The reality is that the culture that we have now was constructed by black men, just like the culture in the white community was constructed by white men, because men create culture, women pass it on. The culture right now says that women are to be disrespected. Black women have no value. Every other woman has more value than black women. You should not marry black women. You should not pass on wealth to black women. You should make black women an afterthought, basically. Black women are whatever. If it don't work out with Becky, then go over there and get one of them. But you want a Becky over here. Those are bitches and hoes and thoughts over there. They're too dark skinned. They're too masculine. They're too manly. They're too ugly. They sold you out for welfare. They put you out the home. None of those things being true. But this is the culture. It's in the music. It's in books. It's in narratives. This is just what the culture is. So it doesn't matter how much a single Black mother sits up and tries to raise her son. Number one, he doesn't have a father there. So just by virtue of the fact that this Black mother is alone, once he realizes it takes two people to create a child and he sees that his mother is alone, that right there is going to tell him she doesn't have any value. She can't. The man didn't stick around.
Damn. And we don't even need to talk about the fact how in the Black community, there is so much enmeshment between Black sons and their mothers to the point of where, like, you almost like, but damn, is y'all fucking or what? What's really going on? So, oh God, yeah, damn. I can't say you lying. Let's back up a little bit, because I've always heard the excuse of, and even my daddy used to say this: your mama put the white man in our business. I've heard so many Black men say that they put the white man in our business. So, do you feel that since you can delete the child, should a man be able to financially delete his responsibility? Do you believe that?
No, because he didn't have to impregnate to begin with. And I, you know what, I saw that little raggedy change.org petition. It really shows the priorities of Black men. Because if you're going to do a change.org petition to financially divorce yourself from a child that you helped to create, that shows how derelict you are, when you could be doing a change.org petition to deal with some of these societal issues that you say you face. But no, I absolutely don't think that a man should ever be able to do that, because you don't have to impregnate a woman unless your bodily fluids leave your body and go into hers, which means you have to deposit them into her body with the understanding that she can get pregnant. It doesn't matter what birth control that she's on. Women get pregnant on birth control all day, every day. It's actually quite common for women to be on full birth control and still get pregnant. So if you didn't prevent yourself from impregnating that woman, then no, it doesn't matter. You can't go after the fact and then ask her to go to a medical procedure just so that you don't have to pay for something when you got lots of condoms.
Okay. Now I already know what they're going to comment. They're going to say, well, you guys are the gatekeepers of sex, so you didn't have to let me have sex with you in the first place.
We're not the gatekeepers of sex.
Explain.
Well, first of all, if we were the gatekeepers of sex, I mean, raping people would not be a thing. So we're not the gatekeepers when somebody wants to force themselves on us. Look, one woman can only control, and she can't even control it. She can only consent, I'll say, to whether a man has sex with her. But she's not gatekeeping his sexual behaviors with anybody else. Furthermore, if he doesn't want to have sex with her, is she the gatekeeper then? Like, is Gabourey Sidibe the gatekeeper if she wants to go sit on Michael B. Jordan's face? Is she the gatekeeper then?
No.
Or is he going to say, no, that's not a woman I want to be with? Yeah. I mean, Black women ain't even the gatekeeper of whether Michael B. Jordan have sex with Black women.
Because we all know the real situation on that. We saw right through that. So
yeah. So it's like, no, we're not the gatekeepers. They'll say we're the gatekeepers because, again, it relinquishes them from responsibility. If we're in control and he's not, then he doesn't have to have any accountability. You can't have accountability unless you have control.
And that's what people are, and that's what certain men are trying to get away from. Because I remember having that conversation with my dad, and I was digging, because I'm like, this is way deeper than just a white man. I'm like, no, let's get to the root of it. And so what he admitted is that he felt once a man is no longer with the woman, he shouldn't have to take care of the kid at all, because I'm no longer with the woman. So what am I giving your mother money for? To take care of her? She has a new man, or she's gonna find a new man. So let the new man do it. And I was like, so that's how you really feel. Like, that's the real thought process behind it. Like, he felt like, if I can't get your pussy no more, then I shouldn't be taking care of you or the kid.
And you know what? That's the thought process that they had back when they were saying welfare put them out the home. There was a documentary, and it showed a Black man, and unfortunately, he was an attractive Dusty. I was like, listen, as dusty as he is, he's really attractive. But anyway, the dude literally basically said that. He said, you know what? The government can take care of the kid.
Damn.
Like, he didn't even care. He didn't care one bit. And they asked him, did he think that it was his responsibility to take care of his kid? And he said, no, the government can do it. And so this is around the time where they were talking about someone put them out of the home. But if you have the mentality that your responsibility is not your responsibility, then you'll just walk out the home. And that's what they were doing. They were walking out. No one put Black men out of the home. And I really wish this myth would go away, because it is a myth indeed. Literally, no one put Black men out of the home but themselves.
Well, and then I'm even thinking about my grandpa, who moved cross country because he said he couldn't even take seeing my grandma with another man after you beat her ass for a decade. So, okay. Then I'm even thinking too, if you think about the whole welfare thing, if I'm a man and you're my wife, then why do we need welfare in the first place?
Well, you shouldn't need it. And that was basically the understanding of when they created the welfare system. So, you know, when I came here on YouTube, when I started, because for the first part of it, I didn't do collaborations. It took me, I think, like a year after. I would only do collaborations with Boyce Watkins or Phil from Advice Show. They're the only two people I did collaborations with. Okay. But when I started doing panels, I started hearing Black men say, oh, well, welfare took us out of the home. You read the Moynihan report. It talks about how we were put out the home. And so, you know, again, recently I just woke up with a thought on my mind to read the Moynihan report. Okay. And so I started reading the Moynihan report. And, you know, I don't understand how Black men think that would exonerate anything. It really didn't. It literally said the root cause of the problem is Black male antisocial behavior. It literally said that the typical woman on welfare was actually married. She was married. She did not know where her husband was. Her husband was not imprisoned. He was not dead. She just did not know where he was. And that was the typical woman on welfare. They actually said Black men's willful absence from the home is what made Black women have to go to welfare to begin with. And so I'm not understanding how they're reading the Moynihan report, or what they're reading what they want to hear. It's not there. But welfare definitely didn't take Black men out of the home. Black men were walking out of the home since they walked off the plantation.
And I'm even thinking to my own family here, you know, shit. My grandma told my grandpa, we got 3 kids. What we gonna do? He's sitting up chilling. She like, who gonna go to work? Because since you're not, I guess I'm gonna have to do it. So that situation happens a lot more than what people are willing to admit to.
And it's interesting, because have you ever heard that saying that a lot of old people say is, you know, he went to go get some milk and then he never came back.
That was a real thing, I thought. That's what.
Yeah, it was a real thing. So how can you have that narrative and the welfare took me out of the home at the same time? Well, you were leaving and never coming back, which is consistent with what all these data and reports are saying. It wasn't the welfare that took you out of the home, because one of the things is that the men, since getting off of the plantation, and this is according to the Moynihan report and E. Franklin Fraser's report, this is what literally some Black men said is their Bible on the issues in the Black community. And I'm like, I don't understand it, but sure, they think this is their Bible, yet, you know, the report says that Black men abandoning their homes was the way that they got a divorce, because they couldn't afford divorces back during that day because they were poor. Even though there were more Black men working, because this is another myth, they will say, oh, well, during the 1960s and stuff, they just gave Black women more jobs. No, there was like 3 times the amount of Black men in the workforce than Black women. The problem is that Black men right now, they were not becoming educated. So Black women were in positions that paid more. Black women, which made them the bigger breadwinners in the home. And then because Black men were making less, they would either walk out or they would stay and abuse the woman. They would subject her to physical violence and walk out. So they would either just walk out or abuse her and then walk out, and then go continue to create more children. Because another thing that they said is that the illegitimacy rate during that time, even though Black men were not employed, skyrocketed. So it's like, not only do you know that you can afford these children, you know that you're not working, you're not the man of the home. See, because they're saying that there was a period where Black men were the breadwinners and men in a home. And according to these reports, there were never a period. They said since getting off the plantation, the dynamic in Black homes was female headed since walking off the plantation. Even when Black men were working, they were bringing in significantly less money than the Black woman. So I'm trying to figure out when in the history of this country with most Black men heading their homes, and it sounds like they weren't.
It also sounds like most people don't do research on what they speak on. They just kind of repeat what they've heard other people say to fit their own narratives.
Yeah, and people on my channel know because I shared the screen and read the Moynihan report to them. And look, you really, with a report, you really only need to go to the part that says the root cause, because this is where they're going to sum up everything up, and everything else is symptomatic at that point. This is the root cause of it. Yeah. And they said that the root cause was Black male antisocial behavior, just like what we see now, this really worsening. Black men abandoning their families. That was a theme of it as well, in addition to unaddressed systemic issues that Black men were doing nothing about. So the issue has never been that Black women just wanted to be the head of the home. We didn't. It wasn't that Black women didn't want a good man and put them out for welfare, or that Black women weren't getting married. You just had a bunch of married single mothers out there, apparently.
Yeah. Okay. And that makes sense.
There were a lot of married single mothers during that time, according to that report. Married single mothers, and they were sitting on welfare.
Damn. I know you guys are gonna go crazy in the comments and in the hate mail. And
listen, they can go read the Moynihan report themselves.
But people don't read. People don't read. I did an interview with a title to catch their attention, and they didn't even watch the video, so they damn sure ain't gonna read. But okay, so let's talk about this a little bit, because another narrative we're seeing on YouTube, social media, all that shit, is that if you are a single mother, you have no hopes of love. And so what would you say to single mothers out there? Like, how should they go about dating, picking their life back up, moving on? Because don't stop living just because that nigga left. Like, that's the way I feel.
I think that you cannot become a single mother by selectively breeding. I think that we do have to look at the fact that Black men have a certain mentality when it comes to single mothers. It's not just Black women who are single mothers to Black men. They actually have a higher rate of single mothers among their preferences, which is really interesting. The beautiful thing is that we're getting to see how they treat their preferences. And I think this is something that's really going to change Black women's mindset and help them get out of this Black male worship. Because Black men have been able, before the advent of social media, to say, well, I'm going to go to these women because these women are better. I remember seeing it, even on YouTube, you could type into old Ricky Lake and Jenny Jones and all of these old shows. Like, I remember watching one, there was an obese white woman up there saying that she's the Black man's dream. But during those,
what she?
Oh yeah, she said she was every Black man's dream and fantasy. This is what she said.
Because she was trashing her own community at that point.
She was trashing, to me, the Black community, because she was basically like, well, all Black men love me and I'm their dream and they like me a lot better than Black women. So this is what they were doing on these talk shows. But we didn't have social media, so we didn't get an inside look at how Black men were treating their preferences. And now we do, because we keep seeing articles and news stories about them. I mean, dude just threw his preference through a TV. I mean, so what he did to her was despicable.
Was and then he got on $10,000 behind. I'm like, did y'all not see the video?
Yeah, nobody can tell me Black men don't have privilege in this country. Like, I'm telling you, if that man gets off And ain't nobody telling me black men are oppressed. If you can throw a white woman through a TV and punch her out in front of her child on a video and you still getting out, and you ain't, look, can't nobody tell me that black men are dealing with systemic issues at that point. I'm not gonna believe it.
And then I started seeing narratives. Then I started seeing people say, well, you got to understand, he's not an NFL player anymore, and he could be dealing with CTE, and he's had to be and look,
he could just be a violent person, though.
All of that could be true. It ain't no fucking excuse for what he did. He punched her like a nigga. Like, what? Did y'all not see the video? Like, and that wasn't the first time, because she took it. Like,
she said in her news clip, she said that he has been abusive to her. She filmed it because she said Florida, which is really interesting, that Florida Jim Crow ain't taking it seriously.
Right.
Jim Crow ain't taking a black man beating on a white woman seriously. But nonetheless, that's what she said. And if anybody's been to Florida, the air tells you that you're in Jim Crow.
Yes, it does.
But she said he had been doing that. She put the cameras in there to catch him on camera.
Yeah, he was way too comfortable doing that. And then it was, I had read something else where she told her friend, she said, he's going to kill me and he's going to feel justified to do it. So I'm like, I just don't understand how he only got $10,000 bond, but okay.
I think that black men have cried so much and black women have advocated on behalf of black men's tears so much that I think that they actually are getting some systemic changes. Because you in Florida and you just threw this woman through this TV, this white woman, and you out on $10,000 bail. You lucky you got some bail. Like, are we gonna act like this would have been the case like 50-something years ago, 60 years ago?
He'd have been done.
Ain't nobody telling me that the system is just so hard on black men. It is not. But I think that a part of the worship is always giving an excuse. Oh, it was CTE. Oh, well, look, he was raised by a single mother. Or, well, he was sick, or something stupid like that. What if he's just a violent degenerate?
That's very possible.
He just might like going upside women's heads. And it sounds like he do. It sounds like this man just gets off on beating up women.
And he might. That's very true. He might. You gave the logic, and a lot of people live in their emotions. And I think that's the disconnect, because people can't really say that you're wrong. They just don't like how you said something. So, well,
somebody in the chat box, and the funny thing is this is a woman I've already had to drill. So being that this is your channel, I'm not going to drill her. But I'm not even going to call out who she is. But okay. It's always the emotional response of, why do you hate black men? Well, I've already said several times that I don't hate black men. I don't hate black men. It doesn't benefit me as a black woman to hate black men. But this just tells you the depths of the black male worshiping culture, where you can't even criticize black men. You can't even talk about black men's bad behavior without someone saying, oh, you're bitter. Oh, you got daddy issues. Oh, well, somebody must have hurt you. Oh, well, you hate black men. There's always some emotion attached to it. And I feel like because they can't give any logic, it's always going to be emotion. It's just going to be emotion. No one hates black men. If I hated black men, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't care about, like, indifference is a sign of hatred. It's because you don't care about black men. And I really think that black women have a distorted version of love. And this is why I'm saying, if you really think about it, there is no logical reason why black men would love black women, because we engage in too many displays that we're clearly not coming from a place of self-love, first and foremost. Secondly, if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anybody else. I think black women are codependent on black men. I think we have a codependency relationship, and codependency is not love, because a part of love is discipline. A part of love is correction. Because at the end of the day, if a person doesn't have correction or discipline, then you are not molding them in a realistic manner to deal with the outside society. So I think in black women's mind, black men are only functioning within the black community, and that's not true. They need to be corrected. If you love yourself, you will never let anybody treat you just any way. You just won't.
You
And,
won't.
you know, I had to learn this through trial and error, because what we don't get is we don't get any teachings on this is how the man needs to treat you. This is what he needs to do to earn your love. We're told this is what you need to do to earn his love. His love is the most important thing. Him getting you to love him is not really important at all, because you're a woman. And I think that's problematic. And if you think just talking about something that we all know that Black men are doing is a sign of hatred, then I'm telling you, you have a dysfunctional, counterproductive, codependent type of worship towards Black men, because this is not love. It isn't love. It's not love unless you're correcting. It just is what it is.
Listen, she is not lying. And so I have to throw another question at you that's out there in this social media world. There is a belief that if a Black woman wears weaves, that she hates herself. Can you give your perspective on if that is true or valid in any kind of way?
I think that myth is just another way to demean and degrade Black women who choose to do whatever they want to decorate themselves. And a lot of Black women, because we do live in a Black male worshiping culture, they've become Black male identified. So now you hear more Black women running around with the same narrative. I mean, people do it and it's silly to me because I really don't care. I'll wear 50 bags of wig if I want to. But the bottom line of it is it's just a way to micromanage and demean Black women. Do some Black women wear weave out of hatred for their hair? I'm sure. Sure. I'm sure some of them do. But do I think Black women are running around thinking, I hate myself. Let me go see what kind of wig I can put on. No, nobody's making me believe that. No.
Okay. I had to ask you because it's something that you hear all the time. Somebody in the chat said you're asking somebody who's wearing a wig.
Is Kim Kardashian hating herself because she got all them weaves infused into her hair? Does she hate herself? Does a white woman hate herself when she goes and dyes her hair blonde, knowing that most white women do not grow blonde hair naturally out of their hair? When white women choose to get perms to turn their flat hair curly, is that a sign of hatred? Or do they hate themselves when they do that? When they cornrow their hair, do they hate themselves?
Hey, I'm gonna say Kim Kardashian hate herself because she changed her whole face. So I'm gonna say she does because of that.
Yeah, that's Chloe though. Chloe's whole thing.
Golly, a whole damn head transplant.
Because at least Kim started off being pretty. Chloe.
Facts. So let's transition a little bit here. You said that there is really no such thing as a high value Black man. Like it's not. It's not really a real thing. And correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding was because no matter how high you go up the ladder in corporate America or really anywhere in the world, you are still going to have to answer to a non-person of color. I think that's the way you say it.
Yeah, a man of no color, essentially.
No color, yes. Because everybody claiming they high value. Everybody's making over 100,000, even though the average salary of a Black man in this country is like 42,500.
Yeah. You know, there's so many misconceptions put out here by Black men. I think Black men right now are desperately trying to retain control of Black women's thought process. And I think this whole high value man situation is just another attempt at doing so. Because what they're essentially doing is weaponizing Black women's desire to get married. You'll note that all of these high value pop-up coaches are talking about, well, you're not married. Well, you don't have a ring. Well, what are you going to do to get a ring? So I think that in a culture where Black men are already seen as the prize, it's very easy for Black men to just one day say they're high value, because Black women don't vet Black men. Black women don't look at credentials. They don't look at data. They simply just believe whatever Black men say. So if Black men say they're high value, then to most Black women, yeah, they are high value. Now, to me, no. To me, they're not high value. Number one, Black men are the brokest group of men on the face of the planet. That's just the reality of what it is. There's no ownership. I don't know how you can be a high value man and you don't own anything. You're not in a position of power. So Black men are always at the mercy of another race of men to give him opportunities to make money. Even the one who popularized high value in this situation. It's like, okay, well, a year ago you were sniffing perfume and pussy popping, talking about how you like another Asian. So I mean, nothing about these men are high value. They're at the mercy of someone else. So I just don't know how even to the, let's say, who do they say is the biggest billionaire, Robert F. Smith or something like that. Even he's beholden. And he's beholden to a man of no color. Byron Allen, like Byron Allen was just trying to go sue Comcast because he's so powerless that even though he owned these 2 television networks, you can't get them premiered because you don't got no network access. So how are you really high value, but you're at the mercy of another man to give you the opportunity to make money? It just like, they can be high value, I suppose, if they wanted to, but are they now? To me, at least, no.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because even with, I try to explain to people that watch us on YouTube, some people don't take that shit that seriously. Some shit is just for entertainment purposes only. Because if you notice, when the reverse is flipped and the men are calling in, it's like, oh fuck, it's embarrassing. It's like
they could barely provide for themselves, let alone another person.
They can barely speak.
Yeah,
they can barely speak. And so let's just get into it. Do you have a beef with Kevin Samuels?
I couldn't care less about the kitten in heels. Honestly, I just wish people would stop sending me his content and asking me to talk about him, because then it would appear to. Because here's the thing, I get a lot of emails for people to give my opinion on stuff that he's saying.
Okay.
And then when I come out and I give my opinion, then people are like, oh, she's just jealous. She don't like this man. I couldn't care less about this man. I didn't even remember being on a panel with this man. He's so irrelevant. Like, Nyla had to really play the playback. I didn't even know I was on it. I called this man the man in a suit. I didn't even know what his name was.
Okay.
So, look, I am so unbothered by this man. But I do, though, think it's disingenuous, although I understand why he's doing it. I think it's very disingenuous for a man who knows that he does not like women. He has no interest in women in terms of relationships, to sit up and give relationship advice to women. I do think that's disingenuous.
Can you tell us some examples of why you feel that way about him?
I think he's in the LGBTQ community. I think it's obvious. And I think that if he really wanted to go mainstream, he should come out already. He's not high value. I think he's very insecure. Just like most Black men, he has low self-esteem, and I can literally read it on him. I'm just trying to figure out how Black women can't get this read on him. I don't understand it. Like I'm telling, I could pull this man's psychological script if I really wanted to. If I really wanted to, I would read this man's psyche. But at the end of the day, the fact that I haven't done that, that means I don't really care. I can care less about him. I don't think he's not going to progress anything. He's not. The only thing he's going to lead Black men is to a prison cell or a coffin. That's the only place he's going to, at the very least outcome, that he's going to make more Black men single.
Well, I did hear him when I was because they sent me this clip that said, Storm, you gonna react to this? And I'm like, I don't think there's nothing for me to react to. But he said we need to start advocating for Black men being with men.
Because he's one of them. That's why.
I was like, did he mean Black men with Black women? But that ain't what he said. I gotta go with what he said, right?
That's that man's lifestyle. I don't care what nobody say. It's his lifestyle. And listen, I sometimes gay Black men are far more pleasant than straight Black men, because you don't have the attempts at being hyper masculine. You like it's almost like having that cool girlfriend with you. So sometimes they're more pleasant than straight Black men. So I don't understand what the problem is. I really don't understand what the problem is. I don't know why this man don't come out. But then if he want to suck dick, look, that's fine. But I'm not going to take advice from someone who's trying to suck the same dicks that I'm trying to suck. I ain't doing it.
You said I'm not
doing
doing
it.
it. Can you also speak on?
Being.
Can you also speak on how, like, even like in the gay Black community, they don't even date each other? They date
No, they don't. And I think that that's something. This is why I think that Black women, and this is why I do it, because I know Black women aren't going to go out there and look at who Black men are dating and their outcomes with who they're dating. Most Black men, when they are in the LGBTQ community, they don't date Black men. They don't. They may date them for a while. They may have sex with them, but in terms of having them as stable partners, no, they choose white men overwhelmingly. They choose white men. When it comes to families and partners and adopting children, they don't go to Black men for that. And I think that's something that is very telling, because we can hear all day as Black women how undesirable we are, how we don't know how to manage relationships, how we're not submissive or feminine. We know everything, the whole gamut that they go through. But when you look at Black men's relationship track record, it is trash. Okay? It don't matter what heterosexual, homosexual, you ain't where it's at. Black men don't even want to date Black men. And I think that tells you that Black men know who Black men are.
We're not saying all.
Yeah, I mean, but look, this is what they don't understand when they say, but again, Black male worship. Because if I was talking about Black women, they wouldn't come in and say this. They would not say, stop categorizing all, not all, don't generalize. They would never say this if I was talking about Black women. They wouldn't. And let me tell them something. In general means the majority. So I think in this situation with Black men, yes, I am going to keep generalizing, because it applies to Black men in general. So, I mean, look, if you don't like it, then I think you need to start policing the behavior of Black men. It just is what it is. Like, why would I not say Black men in general when it really is Black men in general? Like, I'm not going to come on here and lie. Listen, you can fact check. Everything that I'm saying is backed by data. Just go look it up. And look, they'll say, well, the data is manipulated. Well, the data is not being manipulated when you're using the data to say that most Black women are overweight, which we're not the most overweight group of women, but you are the most overweight group of men, though. I'm just saying.
I'm fucking done.
I'm like some of y'all really need to back up away from the table, because I'm seeing way too many pregnant bellies on Black men. I'm seeing way too many. And look, it ain't mine, but I just want to know when the due date is. I'm not sending you, I ain't sending you no gift. I'm not going to no baby shower, but some of y'all look like y'all do. I'm looking for men and Black men to be in a maternity ward and not there to support Black women. Some of y'all got to get these babies off. Why is somebody at my door? Hold on for a second. I can see who's at my door.
Okay. I'll take some comments from you guys while we are waiting on Cynthia G to go answer the door here. I could actually let somebody come up and maybe give their take on things. Let's see. The shade is look, it's the truth. Look, I ain't gonna lie, you even in the locker room, you see like, damn, everybody fat. Can you ask about the backlash from the white man interview? Okay, hopefully I can remember that once she get back. Storm, how you listening to this bashing? I am doing an interview, people. This is an interview. This is an interview. Come on now. I'm just getting her perspective. Cherie said this is the best collab ever. Belly so big they can't even hit it from the back. Damn. Storm, stop being a psycho fan. I don't even know what that means. I have to look that up. Let me do this. While she's doing that, let me see if anybody wants to come up and chat really quick until she comes back. Give y'all some entertainment, because I don't know how long that's gonna take. So the link there is in the chat. Damn, all these people hitting me up. The link there is in the chat. If you got a comment to add about what has been said so far today. All right. I wish you could have did it on the original day. I know there would have been even more people here, but thank you to everybody Thank you to everybody who joined. Let's see. All right, we got Leonard. We got Leonard Roy. We got Koja Malik. Okay. We will go with Leonard first. All right, you just came back, Leonard. You just
No,
came.
that was just some lamps I ordered. So
Oh,
that was, yes, yeah, they were delivering some lamps I ordered. So
I tell y'all what, y'all hold off until the end. If she had, see y'all coming up now, she just got back. So sorry, I'm sorry.
that Leonard trash bag is a dusty troll anyway. He's a stalker.
Oh damn. Oh, I didn't even know that was going on. Okay, so let's go. Let's move on into other questions people have for you. Do you have a beef with O'Shea Duke Jackson?
No.
You don't?
No, look, my only issue with O'Shea can't get views off his own name. That's the only issue that I have is that he's like a gnat that won't keep. And even if he did use my name, I just don't tag me in your stuff. Like, stop tagging me. That's my only issue with it. I don't want ugly people tagging me.
Damn. Oh, come on, sis.
No, that's just the thing is I don't. Oh wait, is my mic?
Oh yeah, I'm hearing static now all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, because I have my other mic. I didn't know that my microphone was unplugged. Sorry about that.
Fix it, y'all. Hold on one sec. She gonna fix it.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it. Give me 1 second to change my audio.
She fixing it, y'all.
Okay. Okay.
There you go. Okay, so you say you don't have an issue with O'Shea Duke Jackson. You just want him to stop using you as a tag in his videos.
Yeah, and stop using my name for views. Like, I don't watch his content. Again, there isn't a lot of male content creators that I watch. I think you're maybe one of 4.
Okay.
Only 4 that I watch. Okay. So yeah, like, I don't watch his content, but he is always tagging me in a video and using my name. So that's the issue that I have. I just want him to use his name. I get why he's doing it. But I mean, he can make more money off my name than he can make off his.
Damn. Do you feel that some black men do date out because they are conventionally unattractive?
Yeah, I do think black men, like the ones that have small dicks or know that they're too feminine I do think they date out for those reasons too. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, some of them, their issue really is that black women don't want them. I do believe that some of their issue is, but the most of them, they're doing it because the woman is white. This is about whiteness for them. And I think it has more to do with the white man than the white woman. I actually think it has more to do with white men.
Damn. Okay.
For example, on the video, that was on Fox Soul, and it was on interracial dating, and it was with Umar Johnson on there. And one of the black men said, by doing this, we're going to change society's perspective. And it's like, well, who in society's perspective is he seeking to change? He's already dating white women, so you wouldn't need to change that perspective. Black men don't really care about black women's perspective unless black women are expressing jealousy or some kind of unbotheredness with black men dating black women. They really don't care. I mean, black women's societal perspective of black men don't really affect them. So it's like, whose perspective are you trying to get to change? And if they would have asked him that, I'm pretty sure he would have said white men, because white men are the ones who are the least accepting of it. White men are the ones who control everything. White men are the ones who, to a degree, have had the most control over how society perceives black men. So they're looking for a change in black men, or they're looking for a change in white men's perspective. Okay. They're not looking for anything else. Like, there was another dude, I think, when I was on another channel, and he was like, oh, white women just look better on the arms of a black man. A black man, he can get into other spaces. He can mingle with different crowds. And when you break it down to it, they're talking about white men. They want white men to see them differently. They want white men to fear them less. Or I don't think white men fear them at all, but in the mind of a black man, fear them less. They want white men to see them as,
I think they're so focused around sexually when they say that, because you can't say white men fear you and then you can get killed in the streets by cops.
The white men don't fear them. So I don't even think white men fear them sexually, because white men have too much control over them sexually. Even their access to white women is controlled by white men. So I don't think that there's any real threat there. I mean, black men are the greatest non-white asset to white supremacy. So I just don't understand where the threat would be. But they're trying to change the perspective of white men, is what they're doing.
Would you respect them more if they just came out and said that?
No, I'm not gonna, because it's weak.
Okay.
So yeah, no, they're weak. So
they're weak. Gotcha.
I don't think they should care about the opinions. And they'll say they don't, but they clearly do. They'll say, "Oh, we don't care about white men's opinion." Yeah, you do. But I think that, to me, it would be more respectable if they truly didn't care. If black men realize that they physically have everything above white men. Physically, they do. They're no match physically. Black men look better. Black men smell better. They're more athletic. They can, on a one-to-one basis, they can beat white men at almost anything. But when it comes to the right mentality, that is the advantage that white men have over black men. Their mentality. They're willing to be cutthroat. And I honestly, aside from the cutthroat, I think I'm not surprised that black men have such an attraction to white women, because their mentalities are the same. I think black women's mentality is more of a match for white men, actually. Okay. I think, because if you look at the community dynamic, who are the go-getters in the black community? Who are the voices? Who are the advocates? Who are the strength of the black community? It's black women, hands down. White women are overly coddled. White women are placed on an undeserving pedestal. White women are overly protected, and it's created this weak, treasonous pathology in them. And it's the same thing with black men. It's the same thing with black men. There was actually a girl on TikTok. She said that it was in her communication studies book, to where even when it comes to problem solving, black men and white women have the same problem solving mentality. And it's probably why their relationships are so dysfunctional, why their offspring end up not liking them, why their unions are just all around unsuccessful. And it's probably because you have two weak, treasonous groups of people who have entitlement issues, and who have bordering on narcissistic and anti-personality disorder. Both of them are linking up.
Because there is a whole group of these biracial kids on TikTok now saying, you do the stories all the time. I don't talk to my mom anymore because you only dated my dad for this. And now I don't even speak to if the dad even stuck around, because you only got with my mom because she's white. And a lot of them be having so many mental issues. It's just, it's insane.
It's in my family. Not only do a lot of them be having the mental issues, but biracial people almost never choose black mates to marry or procreate with. Like you will see people who will take the exception, like Lauren London even though Lauren London had a black mother, but whatever, they'll take Lauren London choosing to procreate with Nipsey Hussle, and they'll think that somehow that's the theme of biracial people, and it's not. Most biracial people are doing what Sage Steele do. Most biracial people do what Holly Berry did. Most biracial people do what Tamara did, which is go find a white partner. That is what they do. They don't care, like, and it's never been that way. Like, all of this whole, black biracial people are going to mix back into black. Where are you guys getting that from? That's literally never happened.
But why mix in the first place if that's the goal? Oh, they'll come back in. Like, well, then why even mix in the first place?
Right. I mean, why? Why would they mix? But at the end of the day, the biracial people, they don't even want to be called black, let alone go procreate with a black person. They don't. It is very easy to breed out black people, and they are being. I mean, like I said, my nephew's daughter, because my nephew is biracial from my oldest brother.
Okay.
His daughter is white with blonde hair, blue eyes. And so what my mom is doing is she's like, she was like, I see what you're talking about now, because the first time she met her great granddaughter, she said, who is this little white girl that just ran up to her? And my other brother's white baby's mom was like, that's your great granddaughter. And she's like, no, this is a little blonde hair, blue eyed white girl. And it's like, no, that's your son's daughter. That's your granddaughter. You're like your great granddaughter. That's your son's granddaughter.
Because it does take 2 generations to wash yourself out, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, 2 generations. And that's why I don't understand them talking about this whole whatever the black man touches black. No.
And the Jackson family, yep. The Jackson family, Quincy Jones's family,
Sage Steele and Holly Berry are. And the funny thing is they complain so much about Holly Berry and Sage Steele. It's like, these are y'all's biracials. These women don't got black men minds. The problem is that black men want their biracials to act like black women's biracials. And it's like, black biracial people in this country didn't become a problem until they had white mothers. Then we saw something different when they had, and it's like, your biracials are not going to act like black women's biracials. And I'm not saying black women's biracials can't be flawed, because we know, what is her name? The chick they're married to the so-called royals. I forget her name.
Meghan Markle, yeah. Meghan
Markle. I mean, her mom's black. Now, I suspect that her mom's biracial, but whatever. They're saying her mom's black. I think she's biracial, but sure. Let's say she's black for the sake of this. So we know that their biracials can be problematic, but it's rare when they are. The most of black men's biracials are problematic. And we know because they won't stop complaining about them. Like, what is her name? Brittany Renner. Yeah, that's one of black men's biracials. Yes, get y'all's biracials. Like, y'all said y'all creating these black kids. They pro-black. Why are y'all complaining about Brittany Renner?
My thing was with her, I mean, I just felt like I didn't see what was so special about her. That was my thing. I'm like, are we only falling for light skin and a big booty? Because other than that, I don't see what's like.
She came from a white woman.
Okay.
Because apparently black men think that the biracials that come from a white woman, although they're the high class biracials, though they're the better biracials, though they're the biracials they keep complaining about, though. That they keep complaining about no one, with the exception of Tamara, which, I mean, her dad is white, so I don't know why you would think that she wouldn't choose a white man. A white man is literally the one that she grew up in a home with, who raised her.
And a lot of black dudes is not gonna like her. Her personality, like, come on now, y'all got to keep it real on that too.
But Tina got herself a black man though.
She did, but her personality is a little different. Like,
yeah, she did.
You know, Tamara, y'all called her lame for years. I mean, she talked about that, how black people dragged her for years. So, and it's really black dudes that didn't give her attention. And
somebody said Doja Cat, another one of black men's biracial, sitting up in white supremacist chat calling y'all didn't do nothings. Yeah. When are y'all gonna get y'all's biracials? That's what I want to know.
Oh, they said
Kiki Wyatt, another one of black men's biracials running around hella problematic. Y'all's biracials are all over TikTok complaining.
Damn.
Like, can y'all go get y'all's biracials though? That's what I just want them to do, to go get their biracials and explain why your biracials don't like you, because their biracials don't like black men. Why do they not like you or black people? They don't even want to touch a black man. I want to know.
She won. Hey, they said Lisa Ray. Lisa Ray not mixed, is she?
I don't think Lisa Ray mixed.
Yeah, I don't think Lisa Ray is. Okay.
But she is touched, but she ain't mixed.
Yeah, she ain't mixed though. Last question for we move on here. What was the real beef between you and Tariq?
You know, there wasn't any, on my part, there wasn't any real beef. I just saw who he was for real, for real.
Okay.
And so when Tariq, if you're asking about that whole, maybe the most recent fiasco, and then the other one, I'll talk about that because those are two ones. So the past one, which I think was in 2018 or whatever, I stopped following Tariq because I had become a follower of him. I wasn't familiar with any of his old radio shows at all. So I started listening to some of his older stuff, and I start seeing that some of the same old problematic mentalities and demeaning of Black women was still present.
Damn.
When he said that Black women chose to be bad wenches on a plantation, they were not raped. That was a problem for me. When he said that the only two oppressed people in this country are white women and Black men, that was a problem for me. When he said that Black men should get biracial women who have a white mother because they're high class, and that Black women's biracials are crack babies or something like that, trick babies or something.
Damn.
Yeah, that was a problem for me. And so because I saw the same mentality, because people will say, oh, that's old and whatever. He's sitting there talking about he'll raise the European flag in the bedroom, like dumb, stupid stuff like that. The fakeness is what got me. I can see that he doesn't like Black women. He likes Black women's wallets being open. That's what he likes. But he doesn't like Black women. And so anyone who I see has a disdain for Black women, and no. I've seen the way he cowers when white men challenge him. But when it's a Black woman, he'll try to dig up all this dirt on them, and he'll try to publicly humiliate them. I think he has more of a problem with me, and I think he has a problem that I won't back down to him because I'm not afraid of him. He got white hips anyway, and his lip gloss is popping. So listen, it's like, I don't care about them childbearing hips and them DSL shiny lips. I'm not afraid of him. I'm not. If he want to go toe to toe and roast, it's like, look, let's get it in.
I need to start hosting y'all over here I need to start hosting y'all over here and just letting y'all debate, because that would be hilarious.
Let me tell you, that man will never debate me. He's not going to allow me to make him look like an idiot.
If I reach out, you think you wouldn't do it?
I know he wouldn't. He's not going to allow me to make him look stupid. I will make him look dumb. And he's not going to, first of all, he's old enough to be my dad. That's first and foremost. So, and secondly, I'm a Black woman. He's not going to let a Black woman make him look stupid. He knows he's no intellectual match. I don't care how many of his dusties bussy pop for him. He's not an intellectual match. If he was, he would be going back and forth intellectually. He wouldn't be talking about weave and bang pieces. So the bottom line is he's not smart, and he does have wide childbearing hips. I don't care. Listen, I want to know how many kids he popped out. He's not popping all those kids on her own. You popping out some of them babies. You are. Stop it.
Can I ask you, because you have debated Jesse Lee Peterson, is that, I always thought he was just a professional troll. Is he like real, or is it literally?
No, I think they got a coon camp somewhere. I really do. I think they got a training camp, and I think that he was on it. Like, I don't think Jesse Lee Peterson is playing. I don't think he's playing at all.
Oh, okay.
But what I will respect about Jesse Lee Peterson is if he debates you, he's going to debate you. He's not going to talk about your hair. He's not going to talk about bang pieces or makeup or anything silly like that. He's going to try to debate your topics. Like, none of the times that I went on Jesse Lee Peterson did he sit up there and talk about hair. Not once.
Nice.
He never talked about hair. He stuck to the debate topics. And
whatever the topic was. Okay.
Yeah. So with this second time, Tariq's issue is that a white man that he was afraid to confront called into my channel. I was having a call in if you got smoked for sin. And this is because everybody want to mention my name, but they don't want to call in and get this smoke though. So I did the call in if you got smoke with sin. And the white man, Brian, he called in And Tariq had a little bussy pop and hissy fit over it. And it's just like, look, I don't owe you anything. I don't. So the bottom line is, if you weren't such a whiny bitch, like the dude said, he would have called you, but you whine too much. So it is what it is. He was mad because of what the white man said. It's like, don't take it out on me. Go take your smoke to Brian. But that's what the second hissy fit that he had was over what this white man said.
And who you recently got like some death threats, right? Who was that? Who threatened you?
A dusty trash bag rapper, Space Ghost Perp or something. I didn't even know who this dude was. Like, I didn't even know who he was. Yeah, he went into the whole gambit, and then I guess he did live streams apologizing when I said I was reporting him to the police. Because you about that life. Once the police get involved, i.e. the white man, then you got to run and cower. But I'm no stranger to death threats. Even when the most death threats I actually got was when I was talking about white supremacy defending black men.
Really?
And it was from black men. And see, this is the thing that they'll do. They'll run around here pretending to be brand new, talking about, oh, well, she just mad. And, you know, she was talking about white supremacy. And then I think they're saying that somebody's paying me to talk about black men. But when I was talking about white supremacy defending black men, because again, I was in black male worship, I wasn't even focusing on black women issues. Black men were stalking me. Black men were pretending to be white men, sending me death threats. Black men, O'Shea was one of them, picking apart my videos, condemning me for talking about white supremacy. I got a lot of hatred from black men when I was talking about white supremacy. They did not want to hear it. In fact, the black man who was stalking me said he was doing so because he got tired of me talking about white supremacy.
Damn.
Yeah. And so when I saw, I was like, yeah, black men support this. I was like, black men don't really want you talking about white supremacy, and don't dare talk about white supremacy and tell them to not lay up with the wombs of it. Oh, don't dare do that, because now you broke the cardinal rule. How dare you tell them to stop laying up with the women who raised these men they're complaining about? So I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not reciprocated. They're not going to fight anything. Like, I used to cover the stories of them becoming hashtags all the time. And I was just like, just don't even send me them, because black men aren't going to do anything about it. So why am I up here stressing myself out watching this video? Because I don't like watching those videos. It's very difficult for me. It was very hard for me to watch them. And I'm like, hey, I'm not about to sit here and do this. And you got Stefan Clark over there talking about dark bitches bring dark days. Yeah, I think you need to advocate for yourself. Wow. I think they need to advocate for themselves. I'm not doing it.
Damn. Well, let me tell you, Cynthia G, it has been a pleasure having you on today. Are you in the mood to take calls? You don't have to.
We can. I just don't got a lot of time left, but we can definitely take calls.
Okay. You want to do like 10 minutes?
We can do 15 or 20.
Okay. All right. Bet. All right. So if you got something to say to Cynthia G, please know what you're talking about, because, well, she does. So listen, I'm not policing what she say. If she hurts your feelings, that is on you. It's not my fault. All right. Let me put the link here so y'all can join. How you feeling? It was a good interview, I feel like, Cynthia.
I do. I actually think we should do it again on your preferred date. I think I had a sinus infection. It really hit me, and I was just super tired.
That's okay.
I was like, okay, I gotta lay up for a minute. Because I knew you wanted to have the interview the way it should be on camera, obviously. And so, I mean, if you want to do a second part on, because the weekends are better, obviously, then yeah, we can do that.
For sure. Definitely. All right. Somebody named Rozzy. All right.
Rozzy.
Now, let me say this. If you get up here, you get disrespectful, I'm taking you down.
I don't have a problem with Rozzy. I just think he want to be a part of everything.
All right, Rozzy, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. I ain't gonna disrespect homegirl, man. I ain't gonna disrespect him. I ain't like that, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know you're not.
So listen, man. It was a good interview and shit. I ain't necessarily got a question, dog. It was a good interview, man. I didn't expect this shit to even happen, because she normally don't even want to talk to a black man. Unless, you know what I'm saying? She typically don't want to have an interview with one. So, I have a question for you, man. What is it going to take for, this, for the community to, to make a U-turn and for the better? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is going to really, spark the change in black men? Because I don't believe, not having black male babies is what's going to cut it, in my opinion. Now, you can
then really I should be asking you that. Then really I should be asking you that, Rozzy, because I think the solution is selective breeding. I think that is the only solution. I think that black men have zero incentive to change, rightfully so. I think they're resistant to change because of how long we've been in this community that's been catered to them. And I think they're not going to change because they don't see themselves as the problem. They see black women as the problem. And so I think selective breeding is really the only solution. But if you got a better one, I'm open to it.
I'm open to hear because I don't know the solution at all. And that's part of why me and Cynthia G spoke today. It's like,
well, I think the solution, to me, the solution would be for the black men that really give a fuck, like myself, to really, get in the community and do something. Yeah, I mean,
that's not going to happen because then they're going to be met with other black male sabotage. It's not going to happen.
Shit. You're gonna have some Negroes that do some dumb shit, but
hold on. Don't cuss too much. We want monetization. I know we at the end. We want monetization on this.
I'm sorry, bro. I ain't know, bro. I ain't know, bro.
You good?
But I'm saying, okay. So what I'm saying, listen, you'll have black men who will sabotage it, right? But at the same time, if a black, I got echo.
Rozzy, you have to give other people the opportunity too, because you always call in when I'm live, so you can just call in when I'm live.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Rozzy. I thank you for calling in, and I think I will speak with. I will do an interview with someone where we discuss solutions. Right?
All right, dog. Nice talking to you, man. All right.
For sure, man. Take it easy. All right, now. KS was up here for a while when you had to step off for a minute. KS, are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Hello?
Okay. Hey, you on KS with me and Cynthia G?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Am I fine?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Go ahead with your comment.
Okay. I wanted to talk on this. Sen, hello. I'm subscribed to her. And hi, Storm. I'm going to subscribe to you later. But it was a great interview. I liked it. And I just wanted to put my sense into it. I'm not going to, keep you guys waiting. I'm going to let others go. But I was just wondering if I could talk on this too.
Sure.
For sure.
Okay. So I was going to say, I noticed that, when there was this whole trend of calling black women names, dogs, B's, H's, and, making fun of dark skins and calling them dirty, muddy, disgusting, and praising up light skins and, white features, everyone was laughing. No one said anything. And then guess what? No, they were killing black women going missing. No one made no campaign. No Black Lives Matter really came up with for black women when a black woman was killed. It's always, oh, it's justified. Oh, she shouldn't have been out there, and et cetera, et cetera. But when it's a black man, everyone go crazy. And they literally been doing genocide against black women. No one says anything. But then when black women say no, it's a whole problem. It's genocide. It's, oh, you're getting rid of the black race. But we need the black mothers to actually produce more of the black race. It's silly because many people just care about black men. But when a black woman like Cynthia G comes up and says it, it's always, she have daddy issues. She is problematic. She's bitter. But then you could laugh at Tariq and Kevin Booty Bandit Samuels joking on black women and making fun of black women. and et cetera, no one says anything. Like, what's the hypocrisy?
Let me say this too real quick before you go in, Cynthia G, real quick. Even if she was bitter, is what she's saying true or not?
You're right.
Like, I hate when people throw in one thing to try to throw it, all that, when they say who hurt you, that don't matter. Am I telling the truth or not? Okay, go ahead, Cynthia G.
Well, but if someone hurt me, a black man probably was the one who did it. But I want black women to understand that this is their outrage is not because they are concerned about the continuity of the black community, and they're not concerned about black male children either. Their issue is that you have the power to determine whether they're here or not. That is their issue. They don't want black women up here saying, we're not going to birth black men, because what can they do about it? What can they do? If we say we're not birthing them, then all they can do is whine, cry, and bussy pop, but they can't control it. So by you just saying that one thing, I think that the issue that they're having is because they themselves are learning that everything that they thought and that they've been promoting is not true. They don't carry the seed. They don't determine the race. They don't do any of that. Black women do. And I think this is about their ego being hurt and not wanting black women to feel like they have any power, especially over black men. That's their issue. They don't care about the community.
Can I, before I get off, I'm about to say this last, statement. Black women, you need to wake up and see that these are narcissistic guys you're dealing with. They don't want you, waking up to their lies. They always tell you no one wants you, which is not true. Literally, there are a lot of white men looking at black women where I live, and they look at me too. It's not true. They just want you to stay in there. You know how abusers, keep their victims in a place. They tell their victims stuff to keep them in there. They want you to be stuck with them while they go praise their preference in your face, and they don't want you saying anything when you see what's going on with their preference. You need to wake up, have faith in yourself, love yourself, and go out more and meet other guys. And please do not think your family members is all black men. We're talking about the collective, not all black men. So don't get in your feelings, bussy popping trolls. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, Storm and Cynthia, and have a good day. Thank you.
Right. You too, KS. Right.
I want someone who disagrees to come and explain why they disagree with some kind of logic.
Okay, bet. All right, so everybody that's here in the back, we got, I think, maybe 10, 7, 8 or whatever. If you disagree, please stay. If you agree, I need you to drop off for now. So let's run through it. And people still up. All right, Coach Malik, you ready? Okay, that's no.
Coach Malik doesn't disagree. I know who she is. She doesn't disagree.
All right. When we do a part 2, we'll have more time. Versatile, do you disagree?
I disagree. I
All right.
believe that black people, first of all, hello, Storm.
How you doing? Oh, we didn't lose you, did we? Still there? All right, I'm gonna let her get that together there. Angie, do you have a disagreement?
Hello?
Hey,
yes, I do. I disagree with Cynthia a whole lot.
Right,
I feel like her and O'Shea is like the same.
Angie, do you have a disagreement? Okay, first off, you
have to use your background information.
Yes, I do. I disagree with. I feel like her and O'Shea is like the same.
You have to mute your background feedback. If you have the YouTube up, you have to mute it.
You have to mute it, Angie.
I guess so.
No, that's better.
That's but you're good now. You're good now.
I guess I'll call back. Sorry.
Oh, you were fine.
Yeah. Well, it's just that okay, it's just that with you and O'Shea, I feel like y'all kind of like the same type of person. And I feel like instead of bashing black men, you should embrace them a little bit more.
So what part of it is bashing? What give me a bashing statement that I make.
Bashing black men, you should embrace
them. You still have your feedback.
You still got us in the background, sis.
Part of it is bashing. Give me a bashing statement.
I'm sorry, she gotta. If you can't,
yeah, y'all gotta mute
that.
Flower
Bomb, do you got a disagreement?
Yes. First, I would like. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for the show, and Cynthia, I do uh, value your opinion, but what I disagree with is that the selective breeding, because who number one, what is the criteria for the selection? I think altogether, Black women need to stop getting in bed with these men, period. Because
Wouldn't the result
because
be the same? So wouldn't the result of selective breeding be the same as just not getting in the bed with Black men?
not necessarily,
Really?
because
Okay,
even if you
what would the difference
because
be?
even if you have a criteria for the selections, you still can. I've seen Black men change up in a minute. One minute they're telling you they love you, next minute they're killing you.
But you're
So
not
you
going
could
by what they're saying.
What
You
are
need
they
to go by
showing
what
you?
they do.
What are they
right,
showing?
right. One minute they're showing you, they're telling you, they're doing everything that they need to do. They've got them. They're being providers and protectors, and the next minute they are killing you. That's
No,
what they're
men
doing.
of a certain
Some men are
mentality
doing that.
generally don't do that. Like I don't know large groups of men who, because you can't be a protector if you're sending somebody to meet their maker. Like that's
It
an
normally doesn't
oxymoron.
even, it normally doesn't even go from 0 to 100. It starts with verbal, then maybe some
Hmm.
pushing, then slapping, then punch. So it's progressive. I just think, no disrespect, Flower Bomb, even based on my encounters, I think a lot of times women don't want to accept certain truths about the men that they are with because, damn, I already got a baby with them now, or I already been with them for 2 years now. You just don't want to accept that something is what it is, especially if you dig them.
Like the red flags have been showing, and they don't want to accept those red flags. I understand what you're saying. So then my next question would be, what is the criteria for the selection?
I
Well,
got mine. She can give hers. I got mine.
yeah, I got mine too. You will look at their mentality and their behaviors. Like so it's a little it is an issue kind of to see how a man would be a father if he doesn't already have children, but I think the majority of Black men already have children. So if you're worried about how he's going to be as a father, then you need to observe how he's dealing with his other children. Is he actively there participating and raising them, or does he just begrudgingly make a child support payment? Does he respect fatherhood? Does he understand that fatherhood is important? Does he understand that he needs to be a community builder and that he has a responsibility to his community? Generally, a man who realizes he has a responsibility or an obligation to something, he's not going to be the one that's going out and sending you to meet your maker. He's just not going to. A man who believes that he needs to raise his children regardless to the relationship with the mother is going to be one who's going to raise his children regardless to the relationship with the mother. And most Black men don't believe that. It's just like what Storm said. He believes that if he doesn't have a relationship with the mother, he doesn't have a relationship with the child.
That's what my dad said, not me. That's what my dad said. Yes.
Okay, and so with that criteria, I feel like it's so very few Black men that fit that bill. I just feel
It
like there's so with so very few men meeting that criteria. I mean, where does that leave Black women in in meeting these men, and actually being able, there's just not enough Black
where
men
does
to
it
go around.
where does it leave Black women if you don't do it? What's going to happen if Black women don't choose to selectively breed? Then what's going to happen then?
I just feel okay. That would leave them with not making any babies still. But
No,
I feel like
no,
it's so risky. I
it will
just
leave
feel like
you
it's
with the
so
same
risky
outcome.
doing that.
Or
It's
or
not
you
risky.
or you
It's
expand your options.
right.
Or you just expand your options, or maybe you try the guy who, maybe you're not the most attracted to him, but you know he has his head on straight. My thing, Flower Bomb.
I mean, I did that, and the results were the same.
Damn. Well, damn.
Exactly. Because let me tell you, all of my children are grown, and all of my children's fathers are not attractive, and they are still dusty and crusty.
Here's the thing. First of all, Black men have no competition in terms of obtaining Black women. Therefore, there is no value. Therefore, there is no room for growth. You grow through competition. So Black women must open up their options. Black men need to have competition. Some of them, throughout their foolish buffoonery, are telling you that they value these women because they don't have a lot of access to them. That's what 50 Cent said with Lil Wayne.
That's what Nick Cannon said.
Yep, he liked them because this is not what you can just get in your community. You can't just go into your community and find these women on the block. Black women are too accessible to Black men. And when you don't have to compete with something, when you don't have to work for it, you don't value it. It's just that simple. Black women need to open up their options, create competition for Black men. Stop making them your priority while they're making you an afterthought. That is the problem.
And Flower Bomb,
Hold on, Flower Bomb. Then when you open up your, I'm sorry, and then when you open up your options to these other men, and you still find that you are getting unfavorable men, you know what is.
Then the issue with you, and you're not setting standards or boundaries or anything. You need to have boundaries and standards. Most Black women don't even know what they want out of a man, aside from him being attractive, before they go into it. And what they'll do is, because they don't want to set boundaries or standards, they're gonna find a white trash bag. That's what they'll do.
And that ain't gonna help either. I tell you this, Flower Bomb. Even when TC Atkinson was here at the house when we did our interview, and I ain't gonna front, like her energy was dope. And you know what she told me? Oh, you got to be a millionaire to even talk to me. Like that is her. She does not hide that. If you are not a millionaire, you can't even speak to me.
Okay.
In a romantic sense.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I think Black women need to stop being afraid to put a man having money at one of the top at the top of their list, because at the end of the day, children are expensive, and a man is more likely to walk out on a child if he doesn't have any money and he's going to have to pay for that child than he is if he has the financial wherewithal to support that kid. Because that's what was happening from what I read in the Moynihan report. The stress of providing for the family made Black men just walk out. They weren't even filing for divorces because they couldn't afford them. So we have an issue with a bunch of broke men who look at their children as a financial burden. And even though we do see that still among celebrity men, if you're opening up your options to all groups of men, because they do tend to think differently about fatherhood than Black men do, then you're less likely to come up against that problem. But you have to look at their mindset and what they believe, how they look at fatherhood. You're going to have to, and set boundaries and standards. And that's something Black women don't do. Nobody's going to convince me that Black women are setting boundaries and expectations for Black men beyond him just being there.
Yeah, no, you are definitely right about that, because I grew up in a culture where it was bad to be a gold digger, a quote unquote gold digger. That you should just love the man for who he is and stick by him and all this other craziness.
Yeah, that's Black male worshiping conditioning. That's what it is, and you shouldn't do that. Yeah, you should.
But thank you, Flower Bomb, for coming on. All right.
Yes, thank you. I really enjoy your videos. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, if you're finding you're getting the same result, you got to look at you.
Like with different races of people, you have to. Yeah. And I really think that one of the critical issues that Black women have is setting boundaries and standards. Because if you set firm boundaries and standards, trash bags are going to take themselves out. They really are, because they ain't gonna want to. They don't want to abide by those standards. They don't. But I'll say this: I knew a Black woman. She said she didn't even know what standards were or where to get them. So we know she wasn't setting any in her interpersonal life. And her interpersonal life was a mess. And I know because I spoke to her. Wow. And it was solely because she did not know standards or boundaries. And I think one of the reasons Black women don't, well, two of the reasons. Number one, that we're not taught to. We're taught to just endure with Black men. And number two, I think that Black women are afraid of not getting a Black man. And they think that if they set standards, that Black man is not going to be there. And this is, having no standards is the way to compete, because they're competing against Black men's so-called options rather than opening up theirs.
Damn. All right. Marley, you up?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, man.
First of all, Cynthia, I got a big crush on you, mama. Okay, like you're so strong and powerful, and you know, you use your voice, and I don't like, you know, when I hear people attacking you or, you know, trying to, you know, come for you, because you do have a voice and, you know, you are much needed. But I kind of sort of disagree with you on certain things.
Sure.
Okay, the first thing to me is that when you are saying that you believe that, you know, Black men needs to be aborted, I wanted to ask you, what is the difference between two babies? What is the difference between a Chinese baby and a Black baby? Are not babies babies?
I mean, one is Chinese, one is Black.
Exactly.
One is Chinese, one is Black.
Exactly.
Is that a trick question?
Exactly. So let's take an example. For example, when we're talking about, you know, a behavioral issue, and when we're talking about, you know, being raised, you know, if you take a Black child from America and you take that child to, let's say, China, and you raise that child in China, what will be his behavior?
If you have the same dusty dynamic, his behavior is going to be the same. Our issue isn't location, it's culture. The culture says that Black men do not have to raise their children. It is okay for them to walk out on their children. They just don't care at all. So the difference between a Chinese child is that not more likely than not is going to be raised by his father. More likely than not is going to. And so this is a big issue with Black men just not feeling like they just don't feel like they have to. They'll create the kids, but when it comes to supporting them, no, they don't feel like they have to. And really, our culture is very accepting of them not doing it. And we'll make excuses for them and say someone's preventing them from doing it, rather than just looking at the fact that they just don't want to. It's hard to raise kids. It's very hard to raise kids.
Well,
it's hard and it's expensive.
I understand what you're saying. And, you know, I kind of sort of agree with you that, you know, a lot of Black men do not want to be part of their responsibility. But we also have to look at the bigger picture. We need to really, like you just answered.
What is the bigger picture?
It goes down to culture. The issue that we're having a cultural issue.
Yeah, I said that.
You know, I kind of agree with you, but I still don't believe that the solution is aborting children. I think that we need to go back to look at our culture and how we were raised and what value we are given to each other. I think that.
But if Black men don't want to do that and they're refusing to do that, how do you do that when Black men are saying, no, I'm not the problem, the women are the problem, they need to choose better? So then now what? They're saying that we're the issue, we need to choose better. And now I'm saying, okay, choose better with what you do with your womb.
I mean, let's be honest, Cynthia, you know, in our community, there's a lot of single Black women. And I'm not saying that the women are the ones that are making the babies on their own.
Why are they single, though?
That's a very good question, because they laid with a man.
No, if they're single mothers, they're a single mother because a man chose to not raise his child. That's
not necessarily. I don't think that most.
No, it is. Who can stop a man? Who can stop a man who's dedicated to raising his child from doing so?
Well, I don't think a man goes and sleep with a woman thinking that he's gonna get her pregnant. The purpose of sleeping with her. No, I've never slept with a woman hoping that she gets pregnant. I'm just sleeping with a woman because.
So let me ask you this: you don't think that men purposely set out to get certain women pregnant?
I apologize. Can you repeat the question?
You don't think that there are certain men who seek out to get certain women pregnant?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, if we look at yeah, I would say yes.
Right. So then he does lay down, and he purpose. Do Black men not know that how babies are made? Do they not know?
We do know that babies are made as such, but this is what it's called.
Then you do know that you have to impregnate a woman for her to become pregnant, right?
Yeah, but like we need to look at the purpose. The purpose of sleeping with that woman was not to get her pregnant. The purpose of sleeping with that woman was to have pleasure.
So if the purpose wasn't to get her pregnant, then why didn't you prevent impregnating her then?
I mean, I don't have control over her body.
Yeah, but you have control over your body. You have to put your bodily fluids into her body in order for her to become pregnant. She can't become pregnant unless you take your fluids out of your body and put it into hers. Why are you doing it?
I agree, but then that means that the blame needs to be shared between the two. Because we both have agreed.
There is no buts. Men control pregnancy.
No, I don't believe that. I mean, you already
biology. So biology says a woman doesn't get pregnant unless a man puts his biological material into her body.
And the
so
woman,
you can disagree, but this is like biology 101.
It takes two to tango. I think that
No, it takes one man. It takes a man to impregnate a woman for her to get pregnant.
It also takes a woman to lay down with a man to get pregnant. You cannot put the blame on the man alone.
No, a woman is consenting to sex. She's not consenting to you putting your biological materials in her body. So why not keep them out?
Well, there are cases where you take your we're adult, right? There are cases where men pull out, but the women still get pregnant. But the point that I'm trying to make is
that's still on you. No, that's still culture. That's still on you. It's still on you because it's still your genetic material. Why not just keep it in your body? Why can't you just keep it in your body?
Everybody likes sex. Let's be realistic, okay?
Okay, so then you have to suffer the consequences of sex.
That's what I needed her to get at. Yes.
But my point is very simple with Cynthia G, because you are I love you. I'm one of your followers, and sometimes I'm commenting on your page. There's 10,000 women and there's 3 guys. I'm one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? I support you. I love you. I think you're very beautiful and powerful. And I do believe that your voice needs to be heard. I still want you to find the right direction, because I feel like sometimes you focus.
This is the right direction.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say, Marley, thank you for coming on. We gotta move on though, okay? Because she's on time. Thank you so much.
I think that this is a core issue. And it needs to change.
Because I can speak from the guy's perspective. A lot of guys, they literally they understand how babies are made, but they also feel like, well, I wasn't trying to get you pregnant. I was just trying to fuck. But that is a consequence of it. And so unless you get a vasectomy, unless you use a condom every time, you are trying to, in a sense, get her pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You are. Or just only have sex with women you actually want to be with.
Right. Well, but they think that it's a woman's responsibility to terminate a pregnancy for their convenience, and that's not the case. Men in our community, I think especially, need to be taught that you control whether a pregnancy happens, and see what the teaching is counterproductive, because it's telling women, well, you carry the baby, so therefore you need to make him wear a condom. That doesn't work. Clearly, that doesn't work. That's been the dynamic of our community. It doesn't work. So a better solution would be telling males, you determine whether she gets pregnant, because it's your biological material that has to exit your body and be deposited into hers in order for her to get pregnant. Look, 2 women cannot procreate. And that is because the other woman doesn't have the necessary biological material, but he does. So he needs to control whether or not his genetic material leaves his body and gets into hers. I don't care whether you pull it out or not. You still left something behind. Obviously, you didn't pull out enough, because some of you still got left inside. So if
you
stop having sex for pleasure, they're not going to do that though. Nobody's going to do that.
They're not going to do that, and that's why I'm saying it takes something extreme for Black women to do in order to provoke the change. And it sounds ugly, and it's probably going to look ugly too. It probably is, but it's necessary. It's necessary.
Because I feel like this: if you really don't want no kids, just go get a vasectomy. You don't have to worry about it.
It's like when you have a demolition crew that comes in to destroy something and build something back up. Let's say a building. Then you have the demolition crew come and they destroy and tear down the building, and you just see a pile of rubble. It's dirty, everything's everywhere. But then after the demolition crew comes and destroy it, then you get to build up a nice new foundation and a better operational building. That's what needs to happen in the Black community.
Gotcha.
The demolition crew, i.e. Black Women's Womb, need to come in and basically tear this bitch down and rebuild something.
We need a reset. We need a reset. Dan, I'm glad you said it. It sounds bad if I say it, and I've heard other people on YouTube say it too, but a reset. Yep. How you doing on time, Cynthia?
I got 4 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that there. I thank you so much for joining me. Let the people know where they can find you, subscribe to you, all that good stuff.
You guys can find me by typing in Cynthia G into your browser. Sweep the dusty videos, mostly probably from O'Shea, out of the way, and you can subscribe that way. I do think we should do a part 2, and if you want to have them submit questions beforehand, they can.
Absolutely.
Because I think that the discussion needs to be had on reshaping the Black community, and it's not often that you can find a Black man who can have it in a mature manner, in a non-emotional manner. And so I do think that we should continue to have it. It's not about hatred. Selective breeding has been going on forever and is still going on even today. There's selective breeding, and I think it will be very beneficial to us. And Black women, you have the power to make that happen. I'm not the one who gave you the power. God gave you the power. You need to make an executive decision.
Point blank. Thank you, Cynthia G. We will definitely link up for that part 2. Yes. And let you call in. I'll start collecting the questions now because I know they're going to come in. You have a good rest of your week as well as a good holiday.
I don't celebrate them, but thank you anyway.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This was totally fun. I'm glad we were able to do it. Hate we couldn't do it Saturday, but that's okay. We got it done. For everybody that is waiting to speak, I'm sorry. We did 2 hours and 15 minutes, so she had to go. But listen, look up Cynthia G on YouTube if you want to subscribe to her channel. If you are subscribed, make sure you are still subscribed because I just had to resubscribe. Email me, stormmonroebusiness@gmail.com, and submit your questions. I will bring her back for a part 2. We'll run through the questions. I'll let you guys talk to her, and we'll do it that way. If there's anyone else on YouTube that you want me to essentially have a discussion with, you need to DM them. You need to DM me, email me. All my info should be in the chat here. I don't know who y'all want me to bring on if y'all don't tell me. You feel me? So tell me, we'll reach out and we'll have those conversations. And other than that, I will catch you guys